Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be making this beautiful gown with a slash and spread method on the upper part. So if you look at what you are interested in, definitely watch till the end. And please, if you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up. Also turn on your post notifications so you are going to be notified anytime we drop a video like this. Okay, so this gown I made a little changes, which is the sleeve. I just don't like long sleeve on Ankara fabric, so I just decided to use a short sleeve on it. So let's dive into the video. Using this piece of pattern paper here, and I've already gone out to draw out my basic body lines. Okay, so this is my basic neckline, my armhole, this is the shoulder, the chest, bust, under bust, waist, and the hip. Okay, so this is supposed to be the full length of this gown, but it's not up to the length, so I'm going to be adding the remaining length when I'm cutting on my actual fabric. Okay, so having gotten this here now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is the dart. Okay, this is going to have a basic dart. So on the waistline, I'm going to go in by the half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches. I'm going to mark on the bust, on the under bust, and also on the hip line as well. Okay, so now I'm going to connect with a straight line. So to take our dart, this dart I'm going to be using 0.75, okay, which is not compulsory. You can use 0.5, but I'm going to be using 0.75 at this case. And then on the hip line, I'm going to come up by 3 inches. All right, so this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead now and connect our dart. Okay. So when we have taken our dart, the next thing we are going to do now is to impute our body measurement. Okay, so this is our bust measurement divided by 4, and then on the waistline I'm going to impute my waistline divided by 4. Then I'm going to replace this dart here, which is 1.5. I'm going to replace it here. Okay, so on our hip line I'm going to impute our hip measurement divided by 4. Okay, and then on the full length I like removing 1 inch or 1.5 inches from what I have on the hip line. All right, so but since this is not up to our length, I'm just going to curve it down a little bit when I get there. Okay, so having gotten this, I'm going to go ahead and connect my dart, connect my shaping side. So this is what we have. Okay, so now we are going to start working on the bust. All right, so on the bust, if the start there is going to start from the under bust, right? It's going to start from the under bust, and on the center is going to go up a little. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is the tip of my bust, I'm going to come down at the center here. I'm going to come down from my bust line by 1.5 inches. Okay, so you can use 2 inches, you can use 1 inch, depending on how curvy you want it to be. All right, and then I'm going to from there connect it back to this point here with a slight curve. Okay, so I'm going to connect it back. Now this part you can do whatever works for you. If you want it to be deeper, you can go ahead and go up a little bit more. Okay, so now let me just draw out this line because we are going to be cutting that part off. All right, this is the under bust. Okay, we are going to be cutting it off like this, and this part we are going to be slashing it. All right, I hope you understand this. We are going to be slashing this part, and then we are going to cut off this part, then slash this part. Okay, so when we have gotten this, the next thing I want to work on now is neck depth, which we are going to connect from the width of the neck down to the tip of this curve. Okay, so like I was saying, you can decide how deep you want this to be. If you want it to be 1 inch lower than your on from your bust line, you can go 1 inch. If you want it to even start from your bust line, depending on how covered you want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and connect this. I'm going to draw a line from the tip of my neckline to meet this curve that we have here. All right, I'm going to draw to make this curve that we have here. So let me go ahead and connect. Okay, so this is what we are going to be having. I started to use a pencil to draw this because I'm still going to redraw it. Okay, because I want this curve to get from the center of my bust line. All right, I want this curve to start from the center of my bust line so I can be able to wear this with a bra. Okay, but this is the normal way to get this, because you are not supposed to actually wear this style with a bra. But if you really want to wear it with a bra, that means you are going to start your curve here, so that when you wear your bra is still going to be covered by this curve that we have here. Okay, I hope you understand this. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the curve that we have here. Okay, I'm going to like extend this curve a little bit from here. Okay, from here, so that I can then connect the tip like this. Okay, so this is what we have. So we are going to be cutting out this part, we are going to be slashing this part, and then this part is going to be for our down measurements. Okay, so let me use my marker to make this part visible so that we can go ahead and cut out. Right, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut out what we have here. This is what we have. I've gone ahead to separate this part, so we are going to be using this to cut out the down part of this project. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead, we are going to go ahead and start slashing. Okay, so this depends on how wide you want it to be. Me, I want to place just a few slash, so watch closely to see how I'm going to be slashing. I'm going to slash here. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be slashing. This depends on how full you want it to be. Okay, you can place more slash if you want it to be fuller. Okay, so but I'm going to be using these 5 slash lines to achieve the look that I want. So before I finish up the slashing, I want to go ahead and label first. Okay, starting from the center, I'm going to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so that I'm going to know the order which I'm going to be placing it, because we are going to be slashing this off. Okay, we are going to be cutting this off, so that labeling is very important. Okay, so this is what I have. Right, this is what I'm going to place on my actual fabric, then cut out. Okay, back, the back is also going to be almost the same thing. So this is my basic bodice, and on the waistline I'm going in with my nipple to nipple measurements. Okay, so let me label this. This is the shoulder, the chest line, bust, under bust, which we don't really need for the back, then waist and hip line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my dart, which is 4 inches on the bust line, the chest line, the under bust, and also on the hip line as well. So I'm going to go ahead and connect all these points with a straight line. So just like we did for the front, on the hip line I'm going to come up by 3 inches like this, and I'm going to use 0.75 on both sides of the dart. Okay, so I'm going to connect all the way through to the chest line. Okay, for the back, remember that for the front we stopped our dart on the bust line, but for the back we are going to take it all the way through to the chest line. Okay, and then connect to that, down to that 3 inches we came up by from the hip line. Okay, so this is what we have. So we are going to go ahead now and shape. Okay, so on the waistline, like we did before, input our waist measurement divided by 4, then replace our dart. Okay, on the hip line, input our hip divided by 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect all these dots. Okay, so now we are going to eliminate zip bulge. What we are going to do is, on the waistline I'm going to come in by 0.5 inches and then go ahead and connect it all the way to wherever you want it to stop. Like I normally say, if you're working with a stretchy fabric, it's advisable you connect it all the way up to the neckline. Okay, that way it's going to be even, right, because your fabric is stretchy. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut out. The neckline is going to be as it is, because normally the front is already deep, so it's advisable you leave the neckline like this. But that does not mean you cannot be creative with your back neckline. If you also want your back neckline to go down and all that, you can still do it. Okay, so let me go ahead now and cut. On our actual fabric, I just placed my back pattern on my fabric, which is folded into 2. And remember, we have not added any stitching allowance or zipper allowance, so I'm going to be adding 1 and 1.5 inches all the way down. Okay, I'm adding 1.5 inches because I'm still going to be turning in this with a lining. Also on the zipper side, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches as well. Okay, all right, 1.5 inches all the way to the floor. And then on the neckline, I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches, on the shoulder 0.5 inches, and on the armhole I'm not going to be adding anything. Okay, so if you have been following my channel, you must have known by now that I don't add anything on my armhole. Okay, so remember when we were cutting this, we said that the length of the pattern is not up to the length of the gown. We are still going to be adding 4 inches to it to make up for the length of the gown. Okay, so now this is 4 inches, and then I'm going to be using the remaining part of this fabric to turn it up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead now and cut. I also went ahead to pin the pattern paper, and I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches on the shaping side, just like we did for the back. Okay, so we're also going to take it down, add our 4 inches for our add the 4 inches for our folding, the 4 inches for the full length. Okay, so on the top here I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches for the joining. Okay, because we are still going to be joining this to the upper part of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. For the upper part here, I'm going to fold my fabric on 2 like this. As you can see, this fabric is on fold, and I'm going to arrange this according to the number. Okay, that is why it's so important you label. Just arrange this and make sure you have allowance on the top and on the bottom. Okay, so 5. Now the space you are going to be giving in between depends on how open, it depends on how full you want it to be. Okay, so let me go ahead and pin. This is what I have. For these 3 spaces, I want to be pleating it on the shoulder, and for this side I don't want it to have a pleat, but I want it to have a pleat under the bust. Okay, so this is why I have it like this. I added 0.5 inches on the shoulder, and this is the center neck. Then I added 0.5 inches on the down as well. Okay, so I'm going to be marking the center of all these spaces so that I'll be using it as the pleating line. Okay, take notes. I just marking the center, so I'll be using it for the pleating line. This is why you see this shape on the down part. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut what we have here. Remember to label. If you do not label, you're going to actually get confused when you got to this part, so make sure you label. What we have. Okay, so now as you can see, and if I want to pleat now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pleat it like this from the center. Can you see? So after pleating, you're going to go ahead and trim off. Okay, but I also forgot to say this: before you slash, you're supposed to take your round under bust measurement. Okay, take your measurements as the cloth was before you slash it, so that you are going to, after pleating this, you're going to make sure it gets to that exact measurement. Okay, but even if you have forgotten to take that measurement before you slash, you can still get it from the down part of this front. Okay, you can still get it from measuring this part. All right, just go ahead and take your measurement like this. All right, remember to keep your tape the way you see me placing my tape. Okay, so what I have here is 10 inches. So whenever I'm working on here, whenever I'm pleating here, I'm going to make sure I have 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and pleat. All right, you see, like this. Then I'm going to make sure that what I have around here is 10 inches after pleating. Okay, so I also made sure to add my shaping allowance. Okay, so this is what we have. Having gotten this, we are going to go ahead now and cut the lining. Everything is ready. I'm going to go ahead and start by turning. Okay, I'm going to turn the lining. We already know how to turn lining, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and turn the lining. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the lining, turn the back, the neckline, the sides, the zipper side, and then the down part as well. Okay, remember that this down part is going to have a turn up, so after turning it, it's supposed to start like this. Okay, so if you don't know how to do this kind of turning, tell me in the comment section so I make a video on how to. Okay, so after turning the back, I'm going to go ahead and turn the half length here, this part. Okay, this top part I'm going to turn here. Then after turning here, I'm going to press it, and then I go ahead and gather the way it's supposed to be, right? So after doing that, before we go ahead now, place it on this one and then turn everything. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Turn the lining, turn it to the right side, press it. Then I'm going to come and show us how to pleat this part. What we are done with turning it with the lining, so we are going to go ahead now and pleat. Okay, remember that whatever we are doing here, we should have at least 11 inches here, one for the shaping, and then the 10-inch for this normal size is supposed to be. Okay, so I'm going to be pleating, okay, little by little, making sure I'm pleating on the center, which is the notch that we have. So when you are done with the shoulder, you're going to make sure that the shoulder is equal with the shoulder of the back. Okay, make sure that the shoulder you have here is equal with the shoulder of the back. So let me check. Let me see if we have equal shoulder. Okay, so can you see? Now we have equal shoulder, so that means that no other pleat should get close to this shoulder. No other pleat should get to the shoulder again. All right, we already have equal shoulder. Okay, so we're still going to continue pleating. When we have gotten this, I'm going to go ahead and measure to make sure we have 11 inches, and what we have here is 11.5 inches. So I'm still going to adjust a little bit. Okay, let me adjust this last one. What we have, right? Remember, we're still supposed to have 1 inch here after getting our 10 inches, and this is what we have. Okay, so I went ahead to pin this on another pattern paper and cut it out, which is what we were supposed to do before. All right, before we slash this one, we're supposed to duplicate it to another one so that we don't have to go through the stress of arranging it back. Okay, so now I just placed it just to make sure I'm in the safer side. I have the equal thing, and this is what I have. As you can see, I have the equal thing plus the 1 inch for the stitching allowance. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, this is the two of them. I'm going to go ahead to show you how we are going to be joining this to the down part. Okay, so I went ahead to prepare the down parts. I just placed my darts on the lining separately and on the main fabric separately. Okay, so now this is how we are going to be placing it, because we want that part to be neat. We want to turn everything with the lining. So we are going to first of all join this. Okay, we are going to join this using 0.5 inches till we get to where it stops. We are also going to join this one as well using that same 0.5 inches. So after joining, we are not going to turn everything with the lining. Okay, just place the lining like this, turn here, turn the down, and then we are good to go. Okay, so I'm going to show us what we have after turning. So this is not going to be that very easy, but you can do it. All right, so I notched here as well, so I'm going to go ahead and turn. All right, so this is what it looks like on the outside. Can you see? Okay, this is what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press. Okay, this is what we have after we are done. I went ahead to fix my zip and also shape, and this is what we have. Okay, this is what the back looks like. All right, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. Also, if you have any style that you want us to recreate, also go ahead and tell me in the comment section. All right, so consider giving this video a thumbs up and also hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye.